Hi, my name is Joey Lynn Wabi. I am Algonquin from Wolf Lake First Nation. Throughout my life, I've been honored with 3 beautiful children. When I think about my children and the traditional roles of a Anishinaabe Kwe, I think about when I'm carrying my child, I'm thinking about the amniotic fluid as part of being a keeper, keepers of the water. And literally, when you're pregnant, you are a keeper of water, because inside of you, you have the amniotic fluid in the sac in your uterus, and that in itself is amazing, and it's a miracle. After giving birth, when you nurse, there's a continued relationship between yourself, your baby, and the water, and the water comes out through your breast milk, and that's an important bond between you and your baby. After giving birth to your baby, there's a continued relationship that goes on with nursing. It's a relationship between yourself, the baby, and the breast milk that you produce. That's an important relationship for you and your baby.
I'm Jocelyn Goudreau, health promoter with the Sudbury District Health Unit. I work in environmental health, and one of the projects we got involved in about 7 years ago was the Anishinaabe Kwe water journey. And that journey began when Josephine Mandamin came through Sudbury for her walk, and the water walk that she did around the Great Lakes. And when she came through, we didn't do much to honor what she did and all the great work she was doing to take care of the water and following those teachings of the women being caretakers of the water. So we decided that after she left and we didn't do anything, that we needed to do something. So together, Aboriginal women in this community got together and came up with a plan that we were going to walk around Ramsey Lake, which is the heart. It's right in the heart of Sudbury. It's an important piece of water. We use it for everything pretty much here in Sudbury, so we need to take care of that. And that was an important teaching that we needed to do. We needed to honor that and honor the teachings that Josephine is trying to have us come to learn, is that our important role as caretakers of the water. It's about 20 kilometers, and so it is good exercise at the same time. And during the walk, women are reflecting about their role as caretakers of the water. So we take this 20-kilometer journey around Ramsey Lake, and the women are there with the bucket and leading the way, and the men are there supporting them. And one year we had an eagle staff that Josephine had brought, and the men were able to carry that. So it's important that we have that balance and the men there to support us in honoring our role. This journey has been going on for 7 years in our community, and as I said, for the past 7 years, every time I show up for sunrise at 6 in the morning, I always wonder if other people will come that early, and there's always many, many women that show up to honor their role. And so that's always nice to see all these women out. We pray for that water in the morning, and we sing a song for the water. Then the journey starts at 7 o'clock, and then we arrive back at the end of the journey at about noon. And people are there to greet us, sing songs, we have a feast, and overall it's always been a really good day. Here in Canada, we are pretty lucky. We could still turn on the tap, drink water, and I don't think we realize how lucky we are to have that clean water come out of the tap and be able to drink that and not have to purchase water. And when I went to China and when I went to Mexico, you had to use bottled water to brush your teeth. And when you're in the shower, you were told to make sure you didn't ingest any of the water. Water is not as easy to access in a lot of countries, and it's often not clean. We still have a lot of body water that is clean, but there is some that are becoming less and less clean, and that is what we're becoming more and more concerned about. And with climate change, you're seeing more and more different things going on in the water. You got the green-blue algae that never heard about in the past. And here in Sudbury, almost every lake has blue-green algae now, and that's kind of worrisome because you used to be able to go swimming at any time and not have to worry about the water. You used to be able to drink the water at any time, and now there's alerts put on by the health unit that you have to be careful when you use the water at certain times. Sometimes there's boil water advisory. So even in our community, we have to watch our water. And even more worrisome is when you hear about First Nation communities that really have water issues. And some of them have to leave their community because of poor quality water. And we're told that this really shouldn't happen in Canada, but it is happening. So when Josephine had this vision to walk around the Great Lakes, in a lot of her lectures that I heard her talk, a lot of people thought she was crazy. But now people are coming in groves and leaps and bounds to listen to her when she's speaking because of her vision really is going to say a lot in the years to come. Water is survival, and I always think of that show, Survivor. And two of the most important things is water and fire. Without it, we can't survive. And we take it for granted every single day. So please don't use bottled water. Use your canteens, fill them up, and do everything you can to conserve water, because that is our role as women, is being the caretakers of the water. Rich.
Hi, I'm Nathan Francis. I'm from Mokamekong on Manitoulin Island. First off, I'd just like to share my thoughts on water and its importance to me in my life. First off, ever since I was young, I was brought up to respect water and respect Mother Nature herself, and that everything around me was very interconnected and webbed together and very cultural, and water had played a very big part in that. And I see it as our bodies are made up of 70% water, and we respect ourselves. We make sure we get our right nutrients in part of the day. We get our sufficient amount of water into us. And Mother herself is also made up of, vast majority of her is made up of water. And that we should, seeing that as we respect ourselves, we must always respect Mother Earth. And so this is why I find it's important to treat Mother Earth with respect, dignity, and to never pollute, so that we maintain her healthiness and keep her alive for generations to come.
Hi, my name is Riley Champagne, and I'm from the Swakamuck area where Sudbury is now located. Water is super important to me. I love fishing with my dad. He would pick me up every weekend when I was younger, and we would go to the lake. I started to notice black spots on the fish. He would tell me that they were no longer good and to throw them back. I never understood why they were no longer good. Now when I go swimming, I see dirt and pollution in the water. I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to do the same things that I did with my dad when I have kids. Something needs to change.
Hi, my name is Julia Wabi. I'm an Algonquin from Wolf Lake First Nation. Ever since I was 4, I've been having New Year's Eve parties to celebrate the new year. When I was 13, I welcomed the new year with a different perspective. I was put into seclusion because of the power I held as a girl becoming a woman. I was only able to see women because they shared the same power I had. This new responsibility held boundaries to help me with the transition. These boundaries included giving up berries because we were tied so closely to them. It also included having my own dishes instead of sharing them with my family because that would have overpowered them. And I was not able to go swimming in a swimming pool or lake or any body of water because that would have overpowered the people who shared it. And the last thing was that I was unable to be in a relationship with another person so that I could explore myself as a person and become closer to my inner self.
Hello, my name is Mélanie. I'm Métis and I'm from Sudbury. I'm here to talk about the water. It's always been a very important role in my life, but I wanted also to talk about the past importance of it. So water has always been really important to all Aboriginal people, and we've all had our different cultural ways with it. So back thousands of years, or even hundreds of years before the Europeans came to North America, Aboriginal people used the water to trade amongst themselves with different nations. It was the only roads and pretty much the only were the waterways, and it was often used to travel long distances. So when Europeans arrived, the voyageurs were here, and they learned from the First Nations the ways of how to travel in the water. And from there, the voyageurs would intermix and intermarry with First Nations women, which grew to be the first Métis Nation. So the Métis people worked, a lot of them worked for the fur trading companies, and the fur trading companies had such big demands, high demands for furs in Europe, that the Métis who learned how to build canoes from First Nations people had to invent their own boat because the canoes didn't have big enough capacity. So they invented the York boat, which could hold up to 6 tons. So other than that, all Aboriginal people, you know, like they would, even today we pray when we use the waterways, because there's a lot of dangers, but there's also a lot of advantages. And one of the traditions is that we still hold today is to pray before we travel long distances. So often we pray with our tobacco and put it in the water to make sure we get there safe. As a Métis person, we sing a lot, so whenever we travel in the water, we sing, and I still do today. And one of the songs I love to sing is "C'est l'aviron qui nous mène, c'est l'aviron qui nous mène en rond." And there's just so many songs that we just sing and because for us it's a lot of leisure and also peace and work for travel. So miigwech.
Hi, my name is Lori Van Twabi. I'm from Okamokong First Nation on Manitoulin Island, and I'm going to talk about the importance of water animals. They are important to Aboriginal people because they provide a source of sustenance. During the summer and winter months, people have used water as a source of food through fishing. Also, other water animals have been used for shelter, clothing, and warmth. In this sense, water is seen as invaluable for our survival.
Hi, I'm Nikita Morso. I come from Couchiching First Nation. It's a reserve that's surrounded by a lot of water. My house in itself is a house that's surrounded by lots of water, and I always had the luxury to be able to go outside to the lake whenever I wanted to go swimming or to just sit by it. I had an important lesson about a year ago when there was a contamination in the lake that was discovered, and it happened to leak onto the land, leaving a lot of people to have to leave their homes with their possessions in it. It just made me realize that we have to appreciate and respect the water because we have to live in unity with it.
One of the things I tell young people, and I share hope for them, because a lot of them are going to be grandmothers, grandfathers, great-grandmothers, great-grandfathers soon, which is very soon. And I tell them, what are you going to leave for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren? What are you going to leave for them? And you have a responsibility to care for the water, because that's what's going to give us life. That's what's going to give them life. And we have to remember that when we look in the east direction, where all life comes. That's where the young people are coming, and we see them, the unborn that are yet to come. We want to leave them the nice clean water that we see, the creeks, the spring waters, the wells, the spring wells that are still available on our Mother Earth. And I tell them, when you go fasting, when you go out in the bush and you spend some time, 1 day, 2 days, 4 days, 7 days, however you're able to withstand to being without water, to being without food. And when you think about the people that you talk to, how much food did they not use? How much less garbage did they not use? How much water did they not use? How much food did they not use during that time? And then after that, and then you think about that first drink of water. That this morning we had our first drink of water, fresh water. That little bit of water, that first drink after being without for so many days, is so beautiful for you to feel it go down your throat all the way down to your body, to your hands, to your feet, and how precious that water is.
Bonjour, my name is Julie Ozoagish. I'm from Tikmekshing, Nishnabek, and I formerly Whitefish Lake, but I'm originally from Manitoulin Island, Chiging First Nation. And I've lived in Sudbury, in this area for 43 years. And I've come to understand many things, and I still have lots to learn. But one of the things I've learned along the way is the importance, of women, what our roles are, and that we're the caregivers of creation. And when we understand Mother Earth, in the way she does, in the way that she provides life for us, so that we can live that good life, and how much pollution and abuse that she takes. So as women, we need to stand up and start caring for ourselves, start picking up in what we believe is good for us. And we are the first teachers of our babies and our children. So when we start to be more, take the role of who we are, the caregivers of the nation, caregivers of our home, and caregivers of Mother Earth, that we start to renew or rebuild our strength. And so one of the ways we begin to recognize what's out there, what is it, how we see our life, how do we see worldview at what's happening around the universe. So one of the things that we really look at is that water. The water has been very important to our ancestors. The water has been our highway. That's how our people traveled. They followed the waterways, the creeks, the rivers, the lakes. And our people studied, where those dangers are of the water. So that teaches us to really think, to lay out our path and what it is that we need to do. So that water becomes very important. So when we look at that water, it's very sacred. And it's the woman who had that responsibility to take care of that water, because we carry that life, just as Mother Earth carries that life.
Shout to